Oh my goodness, the world has changed. And you, as a pastor, as a leader in your organization, you know that, you live that every day. If you thought that shutdown in 2020 was hard, my goodness, reopening is harder and more complicated. So in this video, we're going to talk about why that's happening. And we're also going to talk about some great tips for how you can be a better communicator in these challenging reopening times. Hello, my friends. Welcome to Word Made Digital Tutorials. My name is Joanna LaFleur. This tutorial is brought to you by Compassion Canada and the Canadian Bible Society. I can't wait to tell you more about those amazing organizations later, but this video is going to be focusing on why reopening is just so much harder than closing, and then some things that we can do about it. Why is reopening just so much harder than closing? Well, there's a lot of reasons, but I think the main one is when we all shut down in March of 2020 or thereabouts in our different places all over Canada and then around the world, the whole world shut down, but reopening has been a little bit different. I've heard it often referred to as the hammer and the dance. The hammer was the immediate shutdown that happened spring 2020, and the dance is the back and forth, open and shut, what's available, what's not available, the dance that we are doing right now. So if you're tired, if you're wondering what the next steps are, you're not alone. You're literally doing the dance. And so this is something that we're all going through and really challenged by. We thought that it was hard to close. There were things we had to deal with we had never dealt with before. But reopening, of course, is complicated. One of the reasons is it's just not the same as it was before. Reopening doesn't look exactly like it did before we closed. We're dealing with maybe masks, dealing with new sanitation procedures, dealing with physical distancing, some programs that aren't able to open or aren't able to open in the same ways we had before. There's a feel that's different about how we even operate. We can't pretend that what it looks and feels like now is how it was before we shut down. I mean, also, in fact, people themselves have changed. Our people, our congregations, our communities have changed. People are tired. People are maybe jaded or discouraged. People are lonely, struggling, excited, all the feelings that are brought to the surface from this opening, shutting dance that we're doing. People have changed, but more than that, I think people also are in really just a new stage of life. Some of that means that the people themselves have changed. I'm sure some families in your community have left. They have moved away. We've seen this grand migration of people from cities to suburbs, from the suburbs moving out to the country or to cottage cabin country. And so the people themselves, maybe some key people have changed that you used to serve with alongside really, really closely. People have changed. And also, I think for a lot of people, even the way they think about faith has changed. For some people, it's stronger than ever, but for others, their faith has waned, wavered, become weak, become irrelevant to their life. Now, connected to that is Sunday. See, Sunday has lost its shine. It's one of the reasons why reopening is so hard. If Sunday used to be a day set apart for some families, even if they didn't come every week, it was a day that they knew was part of the routine. You know, they get the kids ready in the morning, go to church routine for a few hours of their day, or maybe even the whole day if they were really highly involved in volunteering and serving. Sunday has now, for some, lost its shine. It's hard now for some to figure out, why am I going to rally my kids and work so hard to leave the house and do all this stuff when I actually like my Sunday mornings at home at a slow pace. I see what the rest of the world has been doing who didn't go to church, and I kind of like it. Maybe I'm going to do that. So we need to actually work on acknowledging that values for some people have changed, and that includes the value of the Sunday experience or that weekend church service. And of course, the last thing that I just want to highlight and empathize you with is that it's different in different places. As I speak to you all across the country of Canada, maybe in other places of the world, reopening looks different in different places. So you might be seeing people at a different church that you follow and admire, or are learning with online, and what reopening looks like for them is totally different than what it looks like for you in your context. So the hammer and the dance, the shutdown, and now the reopening is a challenge that we're all facing. So I want to bring you some tips on what you can do as a communicator, as I empathize with you, as I feel your pain about all that you are going through. And first, before we do that, I just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor of this video. Thank you so much to the Canadian Bible Society for sponsoring this series of tutorials. I don't know if you know, but they have all kinds of really amazing digital resources for you as a church leader, for you as an individual, for your small group, for your family. And as your families are coming back to church and trying to figure out what kids ministry looks like, what discipleship of the next generation looks like I want to offer you this resource. It's called The Word for Families. It's a scripture activity booklet that the Canadian Bible Society offers you for free. It has illustrated booklets, it has activities that you can do with your kids and your family, and it's basically engaging the scriptures together for kids, and with families. So if you're a leader of kids and families in your church, it's an amazing resource to offer to your people. And also if you're a mom or a dad yourself, I want you to consider it. So we're going to go to biblesociety.ca to get more information about this amazing resource. And of course, the link will be down in the show notes. Thank you also to our amazing partners at Compassion Canada. We couldn't make these series of videos and all this content that we want to offer to you for free without them. We want to give you great free resources and thinking on communications, the digital world, marketing and media and strategy, and Compassion is an amazing partner with that. Maybe you've been wondering through the pandemic how to make a difference, how to contribute. I want to send you to compassion.ca/good because there's all kinds of ways that normal Canadians across the country are doing some good right in the midst of the hammer and the dance of the pandemic, of the opening and the closing. There's all kinds of ways that we can get involved as individuals and as whole churches in the work of good around the world. There's so much need. We're seeing it every day on the news. You already know about it. I've been impacted so much by how Compassion is partnering with local churches around the world to do some good. So like I've told you before, maybe you've heard the story of Harvey, who was in Alberta during the early days of the pandemic when we first shut down, that hammer shutdown. Of course, he couldn't go to the hair salon or the barber to get a haircut. So he grew out an amazing mullet and raised money to do some good about COVID in the world through Compassion Canada. And that's the kind of thing that you can do. So go to compassion.ca/good to check that out. Or now I want to bring you back to the conversation about why reopening is just so hard in the midst of all this, so that we can talk about how we can reopen and communicate well. Now, here are 5 tips for how we can do reopening communication better in the challenge of the dance that we are all doing. The first thing is, I want you to be humble. Project and be humble or project humility in the way you're communicating. Of course, we don't have all the answers. We don't know exactly how this is going to go. And we're not in control of everything that is happening. We want to use the best information we have at the time that we have it to make decisions as leaders. But we want to do that with a spirit of humility, knowing that we're coming to people who have lots of stuff coming at them and lots of stuff is changing all the time. So we want to do that with humility and compassion for the people that we're speaking to. And for number 2, I want you to be clear and concise. Say what you need to say as clearly as you can say it, as concisely as you can say it. Why? Because people are busy. There's so much information coming at people, and we don't want to waste their time with rambling. Be clear and be concise. Number 3, don't assume that people are comfortable coming back. For some, it might be a huge step of courage to come back into a church building, whether that's because of things that have gone on in their life, maybe it's for health reasons, maybe it's for things to do with just the cultural milieu that we're dealing with right now. For some people coming back, it's going to be a huge step. So we want to be welcoming and warm and make it as easy as possible for people to come back. But remember that people are going to feel uncomfortable and nervous, and some people aren't ready yet to come back. So related to that, number 4 is, it's a good idea to speak to everyone as if they were a new person, because in many ways, it's a whole new world, and we are going to welcome people as if they may have forgotten or have never seen all the ways that we do things in our church. Of course, a lot of the ways we do things are new, so don't assume that anyone knows them, but also some of the things that feel old or routine to you because you've been doing them for a while as a church leader, they may not feel that way to everyone else. So the best rule of thumb is to speak to everyone as if they are new themselves. For example, you might have been singing a song online in your online digital worship services, and you assume that people coming to the in-person service know that song. Don't make that assumption. If you're introducing a song, assume that people are new and introduce it to people as if they're hearing it for the first time. Number 5, the last thing on this list is mission, vision, values. Don't forget to communicate them over and over and over again, because people have been away, people forget, vision leaks, and a lot of people are new or feel new about why we're coming to church, why this matters, what are we here to do together, what is the point of this whole thing that we're doing. A lot of people have forgotten about it. Now, when we do communicate our mission, vision, and values, we want to make sure we, as clearly as we can, connect it to the people we're communicating it to. Why is it important? What does this have to do with them? What is God inviting them into? Don't just make it about your church, all the things you're doing, all the programs and plans and things you're busy with. Have compassion for the people you're serving, the people you are working with, the people you are shepherding. As you talk about mission, vision, and values all the time, you should be talking about it all the time. Make sure you make a clear connection and bridge between those things in the church and how that affects them as an individual, a family, a young person. We want to mobilize them towards those mission, vision, and values, because they are all about probably the Great Commission of Jesus for the church. Thanks so much for watching. I empathize with you. I know how it feels to be going through this opening and closing thing. It's so challenging, and I am with you, cheering you on in it. And of course, thank you so much to the Canadian Bible Society and Compassion Canada, who are with us as well, making these videos possible. And I can't wait to see you on the next tutorial.